Hey everybody, this is Steve Gipson.
And I'm Sam Pro.
And welcome to this week's episode of Distinctly Digital, a modern recruiting podcast. And today we're going to be speaking with Jeff Gipson from the James Allen Companies. Jeff, welcome to the show.
It's great to be here.
So, Sam, this week we are speaking to an individual that doesn't work for us.
That is right.
It's the first time.
It's what is this? Life-changing, groundbreaking, epic?
We could call it whatever we want to call it, but it's pretty darn exciting. That's what I would say. Jeff, thank you for being here with us.
I'm glad to be here with you folks.
And I want to make sure that everyone knows that if I slip up and I call him Dad during the conversation, that's okay. Jeff is my father. To be completely transparent here, Jeff gave me life.
He did not give birth to you.
No,
he did give you life.
He did give me life. I had to change it. He did not give birth. As much as it's 2021, he did not give me birth.
He did not. And I am excited to talk with Jeff today because we have had interactions in the past, company to company. And I've learned a little bit about who you are, but we'd really like to hear from you first to kick off this Recruiting Tech Through the Years podcast. Who is the James Allen Companies?
Sure. I'm excited to once again to be here and certainly excited to answer that question. The James Allen Companies started 21 years ago. We've been in business for 21 years. And when we started, our focal point in the staffing industry was working with IT professionals and then migrated over 3 years after we started into focusing entirely on the insurance industry, which is part of my previous career. So we've been in the insurance piece of this thing since about 2003 and have continued to specialize in the insurance side of the house. Now, if I go back to my beginning in the industry, it's 31 years ago, and you can imagine the technology changes that have happened in the last 31 years.
That's my whole life. I'm 31 years old. You've been doing this as long as I have been alive.
Sorry.
That is amazing to me that you are dedicated to this industry that you have. I mean, I haven't been stuck on anything for more than 3 years.
Well, you've been alive, so that's good. That's
I have years. Been alive.
So you've done well there. One thing I think is going to be important to kind of pick up on, and as we go through the background of what you've done in your career, Jeff, and some of the things that you've experienced. Obviously transitioning from technology-based staffing originally?
That is correct. Technology-based, all things IT for about 12 years or so of my career, 12, 13 years of my staffing career. And then once again, the insurance piece, which takes me way back to the beginning of my career, where I was an insurance producer for 8 or 9 years.
Which I think is really interesting to begin with, because there's so many of our clients, and Jeff and the James Allen Company are also one of our clients. But so many of our clients that come from specific industries that they now recruit within. And so you actually, as you mentioned, you spent several years within the insurance industry yourself.
Right. It made sense after having left a very strong IT recruiting firm that did a lot of perm placement, or what we call permanent placement. Not supposed to use that word, but also temporary staffing. Having done both and having been with that firm and worked my way up the ranks with that organization, when that position came to an end and I started my own company back in 2000, July of 2000, I started in IT, but then woke up one day and said the world does not need another IT recruiter, and decided to migrate my previous skills in the insurance industry with recruiting. And so that's where this emerged from.
Yeah, and that's great. And the concept of and the aspect of being able to incorporate that skill set and the background that you have and bringing that all together to be able to provide that expertise to those prospective clients and candidates is really a vital piece of the industry and what makes a lot of recruiting firms successful. So that's great that you've been able to do that. Now, the firm that you were with early in your career, they were a much larger firm. That's still not a huge firm, but obviously larger than what you are now. So when you went and ventured off on your own, what were some of the things, and let's kind of bring this in from a technology perspective. What were some of the things that you experienced right off the bat that were different when managing your own, not only your own firm from a business perspective and all the things that go in every single day, but into also how to reach prospective clients and candidates through even the world of technology?
Well, the business has changed immensely. I mean, we're going back predating anything, such as LinkedIn didn't exist in 2000. I don't know exactly when their inception was, but they didn't exist in 2000.
Isn't that such a weird thing to think of? A world of recruiting without LinkedIn.
Well, Dad, what's your? I'm going to call him Dad. But what's your favorite motto that you preach on a daily basis? Is it something about life after LinkedIn?
Oh, well, there certainly will have to be life after LinkedIn. That's for certain, because like all technology, people become numb to it. And so though it's still a very effective tool, it's certainly not our only tool by any stretch of the imagination.
Right. So there was a time before LinkedIn, and then there's going to be life after LinkedIn as well. And that's one of the things to bring up too, as we go through some of these technological. There it is.
This is not a good episode for you, Steve.
Technological. Thank you. I'm going to say it multiple times and look in a mirror and say it. Technological advancements that have happened just in the workaday world. The fundamentals of recruiting, have they changed a lot?
The overall fundamentals have not changed. Technology in and of itself does not change the necessity for the human element of recruiting. Can it help in terms of, maybe the ability to reach out to candidates and have multiple ways to reach out to candidates? Absolutely. But the skill set that it takes to take go from a search assignment to a completed search assignment still requires the same human skills and the abilities to work with candidates and with clients in order to bring things together. What we hope to do through technology is have access to hopefully more people more quickly, so that we can screen and sift and find folks that fit the particular positions that we're working on. So that's where the technology has been very helpful. But in terms of basic recruiting skills, I still go back through those basics and go back through the training of those basics quite often, because I don't believe that will ever be replaced with technology.
No, if anything, technology just complement and enhance what you do. Just give you more opportunities, what we always say, to have more conversations, which turn into more relationships, which then can turn into more placements. And so being able to utilize the things that are available to us today as recruiters, LinkedIn, of course, being one we talked about, applicant tracking systems and the way that we're able to keep track of our data beyond file systems. I guess you were did you guys early on, did you have, like, I would assume you would have had file cabinets with resumes in them?
Sure. Yes. The company that I spent most of my early career with had file systems where at the time every resume was reproduced in the format that they wanted them to be produced in. So if we were working with a candidate, that was one of the first things you had to do, was take your resume to one of the administrative people and have them reformat the resume into the company's preferred format, which is really, in hindsight, is ridiculous. And quite frankly, when I started my own firm, I saw no reason to reformat every resume, nor could I afford the staff to do so. But sure, we had paper files. There was no way to store them digitally at the time. We go back to the day of not only were the printers dot matrix, but the screens, literally, you could see the dots on the orange and green screens that we used as part of the computer system. And then obviously the changes in applicant tracking systems has emerged immensely since, way back in the early 1990s.
So we're talking spreadsheets. File folders and a messy desk.
Oh, absolutely. We kept, everybody had their favorite candidates, the candidates that they owned, per se, according to the rules of the company. Everybody had their own files in their desk of resumes that they were working on, candidates they were working on, client information. And even when I started this company, initially I started with a card file. Couple card files. I had card files for prospective clients and card files for prospective candidates. And I kept those with a follow-up system early on when we first started it, just because of the simplicity and at the time, the need to do things inexpensively. But we've grown since then.
Yeah, I remember you having those because like many recruiters, you started that organization out of our home. And so I remember you going through those and seeing those on your desk. And it's funny that so many recruiters have come from those roots and have had to find ways to progress and develop and change with the way that technology has changed. So when you started your own firm, obviously as you come out of that firm you worked with in the 90s, internet really hadn't even existed or was used on a daily basis. And then email came around, websites, all those things started popping up, social media platforms now, and all the way we engage now. When did you first start to adapt a website and email within your business?
In my own business, if I understand your question, one of the first things I did when I decided to start my own recruiting firm was to get a hold of somebody who could help me build a website. So that was one of the first things we did. We had a website early on in the history of the James Allen companies. Obviously, since then, we've had multiple websites that have grown and developed and kept up with the technology. Even in July of 2000, when I started this company, people were still starting to go to the web.
Yeah.
And because they're going to the web, you want to be on the web.
You understood the importance from the beginning that it is just that it's an important tool that you're going to need. Absolutely.
You can't be without a website.
No.
And the website needs to be as up to date as it possibly can be. And of course, technology has emerged dramatically. Our first website was adequate, but I guess in hindsight, for the time, it was fairly state of the art. But we've continued to progress along with technology since that time, and continue to upgrade our website. We don't go very long without a refresh. We don't go very long without updating it technology-wise, and sometimes completely rebuilding it if necessary.
Yeah, I think the key with this is when we look at technology and the way that it's incorporated into our firm from a recruiting perspective, it's just important to take advantage of what's there for us. You've come from working within the industry. You didn't need the website necessarily to recruit as you started this business. You knew how to do it. You've already been doing it. You didn't need it, but it was a nice advantage, a nice asset to have as you started that firm, to be able to have a presence, to be able to make an impression, to be able to engage with those prospective clients and candidates when you're calling them, and it was available for you. I think so many recruiters still are hesitant to take advantage of the resources that are available to them because they've always done it a certain way. I know that we have a funny story that so Dad brought myself, my brother, and my sister on board to work with him in the James Allen companies. And Dad, you may have a different version of this story. I'm going to tell it from Jeff's, my brother's perspective. So Dad and my mom, they went to Hawaii for the 25th anniversary. And as they were gone, they had a bunch of search assignments for a sales team or sales reps with an organization within the insurance industry. And up until this point, we were a little bit hesitant to really engage from an email perspective, from a mass email. You engaged and communicated from an email perspective, but it wasn't something you had fully adapted to reaching out on a mass scale. And when you were gone, Jeff Gipson Jr., my brother, who's actually our founder of Recruiters Websites, him and my sister took it upon themselves, and they put together an email list and sent out multiple blasts of emails and made several placements coming from that, even the 2-week period that you guys were gone. Do you remember that?
I do remember that, more than paid for the trip. That's,
right. So,
that's for sure.
And now, I mean, did that, from the way I remember it, did that open your eyes to, or at least change your point of view a little bit to the way that even email should be used?
Well, I guess it did. Once again, can't remember the exact date of that, but certainly
November 25th. No, I don't know exactly. I'm just kidding.
I don't remember either. I don't. It wouldn't have been in November because I was married in October. But yeah, anytime, when you try technology, of course, you have to be patient with technology because it doesn't always get the instant results that we'd like to see. But when you're building your reputation and your brand and all the things that you're trying to do, trying different things and exploring with those different things, not just trying them once, but trying them multiple times. In that particular case, we had quick response, and we were able to fill several positions while I was gone. And certainly since that time, we've continued to grow. Obviously, I'm a believer in technology. I started a technology company when my son, Jeff Jr., ventured out into developing recruiters' websites. That's where it all sprang from. And if I didn't have a strong belief in technology and the use of it and the benefit of it, not, in the recruiting world, then we wouldn't have done it. But here we are, having continued to grow and develop in the industry in that regard as well.
About to celebrate 10-year anniversary, right?
Yeah.
Of Recruiters Websites.
Yeah, we're coming up on 10 years now, which is great.
It was amazing.
And so, and back to then kind of how that brings in taking advantage of the resources that we have available to us within the industry. Jeff, how you, and I want to make this emphasis because I think it's important because what technology does, no matter what size firm you are, it all of a sudden levels the playing field of the opportunity and possibilities to be able to be found and be visible and be able to get in front of the right prospective clients and candidates at any given time. And so, Jeff, how large right now, how many employees do you guys currently have with your firm?
We just have three.
So you have yourself working a desk. You have another recruiter works a full 360 desk, and then you have a research and sourcer.
That is correct.
Okay, so a 3-person firm, folks, and this is just kind of for example of this that was able to take advantage of the resources that are available to them. They are active on their website. They are active in social media platforms. They work with email marketing campaigns, send out newsletters. All the things that they do, and they're able to compete with these firms that are 30, 40, 50 associates within the industry. You guys are able to come up in those results before 90% of your competitors. You're seeing individuals and potential clients reach out to you guys on a weekly, if not daily basis to find out if you can help them. 20 years ago, would you have ever imagined that you would have been in a position where a majority this year of your business development had come from people reaching out to you through your website?
No, I would have told somebody that they had lost their mind if they would have said to me that you're going to have folks reaching out to you via your website, making inquiries of what it is that we do, or people actually calling us direct. We get a combination of various different ways in which people reach out to us. But and I certainly believe in continuing to market and do things like we've always done. But when you have people that have needs, and there's tremendous demand in our particular industry, when you have people that have needs and they reach out to you directly, and you can have meaningful conversations with them, and in many cases come to an agreement in regard to fees and so on, and begin to work to fill those positions, that's a great thing. And we have to. There's only one way that happens, and that's directly happens, and that's through technology. Of course, we've had to fill jobs. We've had to work hard and be successful and do good work. But companies reaching out to us, much of that comes from them realizing they need an insurance recruiter. They do the research on the web. We pop up, they call us, and we talk to them. And the follow up after that is vital,
right?
Because if I get a lead and I sit on it for 2 weeks, of course, they may very well have another recruiter they reached out to. But we try to work very diligently to be the first person to call them back. So there's typical sales skills and follow up skills that have to be applied to everything that you do. But the technology makes a lot of those opportunities possible that may not have been there. And then, of course, that correlates to placements, and placements correlate to fees.
Yeah. And again, that's where it goes back into, it doesn't replace the fundamentals of the recruiting business, which is very sales, has a lot of foundations in sales to begin with. And the things that we do just every single day when we're having those conversations, we're following up, we're actually going out and still doing the research on the candidates and providing and our expertise on who's the right candidate and who's not, and who should be submitted and who should not. And then working that 30-step process in between there of all the things that are outlined within, from the initial phone call of that candidate all the way through offer, through guarantee period, all the things that exist within that. Technology doesn't replace that, but it just gives us more opportunity to be able to be visible and have more of those situations and conversations as we progress as a firm, and being able to compete on the level that a small firm has. Again, the people don't know the difference, because the quality of service, the quality of candidates you guys provide are on par, if not better than a lot of those larger competitors, because of the expertise and the personal touch that's there. But they would never know that if they couldn't find you.
No, that's true. That's part of it. You want to be seen, and you want to be viewed as a much larger company than you are. And by using the right technology pieces, you can not only can you be viewed as a much larger company, but you can be viewed having more than, in our case, we only have one office, one location, but people call us thinking we have an office location right there in their backyard. Once we're on the phone with them, we share with them what we do and how we do it, and that we work nationwide. Very seldom have I had a company say, well, you don't have an office in Boston, so we're not going to work with you. Most of the time, once we share with them our approach, then they go ahead and we work together, regardless of the fact that we're located in a small community in Missouri.
And I think that's a thing now that we're so used to, because in a post-COVID world is, we work from everywhere, and we work for everywhere, especially in this industry. So many recruiters that I work with as clients have, expanded the amount of remote positions that they're looking for, and they're filling those not just on the coasts, they're filling them in those, I don't know, Midwest areas. Is that basically what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, it's amazing how the industry is going to evolve into being just more mobile, and in a lot of different ways. Just workaday world's going to be more mobile in the way that we all work from home in different locations. It doesn't really matter where you live, and so there's a lot of different opportunities and things that are going to exist as we continue to expand and continue to grow within the industry, and that's what's exciting to see. To know what may be next. We have no idea of what kind of technology, what kind of social platform, what kind of resource is going to come our way. The key with it as recruiters, and as we all need to keep in mind, is that we need to be able to and be willing to expand and grow and try it. And try to be open-minded to how this could impact our business. There's so many great softwares right now. There's so many great opportunities beyond what we traditionally have done, and things that we're doing right now that could change and impact the way and the effectiveness of your firm and your business. And as we go through different podcasts, I'm hoping to be able to go through and maybe even have some guests on the show from different applicant tracking systems or different softwares that are utilized and cater to the industry that allow for more effective communication in a more streamlined ways. And because that's what it's all about. And there's that old saying that when we have, what is it, luck, and Brian's going to cue up the music here again. I hope so, like he did last week.
He's so great at that.
Because people say, "Oh, it's just luck, Jeff, that people found you. It's just luck that people came across your website." Well, okay, so luck is when opportunity meets preparation, and those things come together, and you're able to then be at the right place at the right time. It's not dumb luck. It's because you were prepared, and the opportunity presented itself, and that's what being visible and being active through your website and through your social media and through all those things we talked about provides. It provides you to be in the right place at the right time so that can impact your business and then also the lives and companies and organizations of those individuals that you're helping.
Well, sure. And planning, whether it be in the recruiting industry to plan to get ahead of the technology curve or anything else that we do in life, if we don't plan, we're not going to be prepared. And so taking advantage of technology and looking forward to what it can do for us. Anything that from a business owner's perspective, anything that we can do to make sure that we stand out, because if I can have the best ability to recruit and be selective and have the ability to present quality candidates, but if I'm never given that opportunity, it doesn't matter how good I am at the recruiting basics. I have to have opportunities. Getting a hold of people has never been more challenging. Having meaningful conversations with voicemail, which is really our arch enemy. Voicemail is a great hindrance. And so we have to have other methods. In addition, as we've already said multiple times now, the basics are there. We're never going to replace what we do as recruiters, but having greater opportunities and more opportunities to get to the right people, the decision makers, and have those meaningful conversations so that we can sell our company and in turn go out and fill their jobs is of the utmost importance. And capitalizing on technology to do that is an absolute.
So, Jeff, what do you see recruiting tools, like where do you see them going, in the future? You've seen them basically start from nothing and move up. Like, where do you see it continuing?
Well, I mean, that's an interesting question because, I mean, I think more of what we've already discussed. I think that the importance of having accessibility on the web is going to continue to be vital. That's one of the first things I look for. If I'm talking about any product or service, one of the first things I do is check the web. Even if I know a name of a company, I'm going to check them out on the web and I'm going to look at that. And whether anybody wants to admit it or not, we judge companies by their web presence. And
oh, yeah.
So, I mean, that's just a reality, isn't it? And I've looked up various different companies and of products that I was interested in. And if the website is not, adequate or impressive, then I may have a tendency to steer towards a company whose website and web presence is up to date, state of the art, so to speak. I continue to see that to develop. I think that the use of ATSs and hopefully true, I always say that artificial intelligence is nothing but artificial, but yet there is an improvement in that arena, and our expectations are that hopefully we can automate as much of the process as possible to save us time so we can get to more people and more candidates and more send outs and ultimately more placements. So I'm expecting continued growth there. I'm always looking for improvement in ATSs because when I see a company falling behind in their technology, it concerns me. So we're always open to what else is out there and other methods and means that are technologically driven to help make our life easier. As I just see that to continue to grow. I don't see it as depleting or regressing at all, but I see it just the opposite, like anything else.
Yeah, and I think that's something I do respect about you. I mean, there's a lot I respect about you.
Only one thing, yeah. This
one particular thing is you don't shut down the new. You embrace it. We put a new software out there that we're telling you about. We're like, hey, look at this. All right, cool. Let me look at it. You're not someone who immediately says that's not how we've done it, so we're not going to look at that. You're very welcoming of new technologies, new tools, etc. Something I also do. And I like that about you.
Well, I appreciate that.
The sun sniffles over here. Come on.
Sniffling. It was a smirk.
There's always the natural resistance. We all have it. I have it. But I've learned through experience that if I'm using any kind of business wisdom whatsoever, and especially as you try different things and you see that they work, then you become less resistant to changes in technology. The way we've always done things, if we were to stay in that realm, in that world, I guess we'd still be driving, we'd still be riding horses, wouldn't we? And that's great for a hobby, but it doesn't get much done in the way of being competitive. So, technology and the advances that it brings, and the way that it helps us stand out and separate us from the competition is really important. This is a very competitive industry. It's not for the weak-hearted. It's not for those who are just looking to ride a positive wave in the marketplace, because they come and go. And in 31 years, I've been through a whole lot of recessions and had an opportunity to work through those times. But if we can soften those, if we can enhance the good times and soften the times that are not as positive, if we can soften those through technology and let us continue to be there, because in the times of turmoil in the staffing industry, a lot of recruiters leave the business. My goal is to still continue to be there. So technology is going to be part of that. I don't see how we're going to escape it, nor do I want to.
One word: teleportation.
2 words: off topic.
I don't know. It could impact recruiting pretty heavily.
It's going to take out voicemails completely. They just don't answer. You teleport there.
Just
hey
show
guy.
up.
Hey guy, why didn't you answer the phone?
Just pop up in their office.
I love it.
I think I'm going to get working on it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've watched an episode of Star Trek.
You can do this.
Oh yeah, it'd be easy. I think we can figure it out.
If William Shatner can go into space, you can do this.
Problem is, once you get there, you got to be quarantined, and that's a whole thing. So it wouldn't be good.
There's so many restrictions. I mean, space law.
Space law is getting out of hand.
It is getting out of hand.
So. Anyway, Sam, what are we talking about next week? You have something here on our paper about introduce topic for next week. What is that?
Next week, we're going to continue our topic on space law. Space law.
Recruiting in space.
No. So next week we are going to, we finished SEO, right? We said absolutely everything there is to say about SEO on the whole face of the earth. And then that was it.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, good.
But did we say everything that exists in space about SEO?
No, that's what the S is.
That's what space.
Space BO.
Right. We'll have a topic for you, I promise.
We will.
She's stalling because she's trying to think of one, but we'll have one. It'll be okay. It'll be entertaining. I'm hoping that when we say space law, Ryan, go back and add lasers. I want to hear lasers.
Pew, pew, pew.
But Jeff, we really appreciate you taking some time. I know you're very busy, but we do appreciate you sitting down and giving us a little insights of the things that you've seen through the years and how that's changed for you and your business and how it's positively impacted your organization to be able to adapt and continue to evolve as technology does.
Well, it's our pleasure to have a chance to be here with you all and to talk about those things. Here I am sharing some of our secrets with potential competitors, but there's plenty of room in the industry, plenty of opportunity for us all to grow and develop. And here we are in the midst of one of the most unique, interesting times that I've ever been in. And all of us can say we've never seen a pandemic unless you're well over 100 years of age. But I can tell you that this is with those 3 people we have on staff that Steve mentioned earlier, this is our best year ever. And I think much of that has to do with being in the right place at the right time and having the technology in place to be able to capitalize on it.
Yeah, I think so.
Awesome.
That's great. Well, we appreciate everybody for tuning in, and we'll look forward to speaking with you next week on Distinctly Digital and helping everybody find out what makes them distinctly digital.
Absolutely. In the meantime, you can find us on all the socials. And you can subscribe to our newsletter as well. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.